Teofimo Lopez and his promoter Bob Arum state that that's the fight that they want. Top-ranked chairman Bob Arum told Boxing Scene that he's aiming to stage a welterweight title fight between his two-division and current WBO 140-pound champion Teofimo Lopez and unbeaten IBF welterweight champion Jaron Boots Ennis. Okay, and he said that's the fight we want, and I believe we can make it happen. We'd ante up for Teofimo, and Eddie will ante up for Ennis. And those are the words of Bob Arum. And according to Lopez, he said they'll never go for it. Could be left playing musical chairs. Okay. And let me counterpunch. I think if that's the case, if Jaron Ennis has already had all this backlash about not going to 154 and fighting Virgil Ortiz, I think he should go and stay at 147 and fight somebody that we do know. However, I'll say this. If he stays at 147 and gets beat by Teofimo Lopez, that's nobody else's fault. I told you guys yesterday, when Jaron Boots Ennis decided to stay at 147 when he already told the world after the fight, the mediocre performance that he had in his last fight, that I said, well, hey, it will be pretty much karma for him to lose his very next fight staying at 147, trying to avoid a tough fight at 154. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. And if he doesn't take the fight with Teo, and he didn't take the fight with Virgil, his stock will drop like small coins that we never heard of in the crypto world, okay? And he will fall through the cracks and people really won't care. They will know him for being a ducker. Screw the undefeated record. Teo doesn't have an undefeated record. You know, he's calling out people, though. I'll get to him in a second. But it doesn't matter about the undefeated record. Undefeated records mean nothing. You know, Floyd made it relevant because people hated Floyd and some people liked Floyd, but more people hated Floyd than liking Floyd. So they came to see Floyd lose. That's not like today. Okay, if you fight a good fight and you try your best, and a lot of times that goes to decision, so it's up to the mind of an opinion of someone else that dictates what you did, right? Versus what you didn't do. A lot of people may thought you won, but that's just a fact of opinion. Okay, so your record doesn't really reflect you in terms of you being a better fighter or not. You know, are you exciting? Will you take it to the fighter? Will you try to win? Will you make an effort? You know, are you entertaining? Will you fill the seats? The buns on seats, will they be sat when want to watch you? That's what it's about. Okay, so him thinking, oh, I'm undefeated and I'm just kind of trying to stay it safe, that's not going to work for him. He's going to be like guys like Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade stayed undefeated forever, but he had problems finding fights. That's why, therefore, he was broke. Okay, so he doesn't want to be like that guy. You know, a talented, undefeated fighter that never fights. What the hell is that about? Who cares if that's the case? Nobody wants to see you if you're that type of fighter. You know, and you can't get fights because people look at you. Either you don't want to take fights, you skip up ideas or offers. So who cares at that point? So Jaron Boots Ennis, you know, if he doesn't take the fight with Teo, people will really start to look at him like I just said. But here's the counter on Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez has to stop being so negative. Oh, I don't think they're gonna go for it, yo. I think we're gonna play musical chairs. Listen, here's the deal. If you want the fight, go for the fight. Talk and speak positive about the fight. Like Deontay Wilder, speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Right? Okay. Well, that's what he has to do. If you want that fight, legitimately make that offer and shut up. Let your people do what they do. Okay, if Bob wants that fight for you, and that's the fight that he wants, and he's gearing up for you, anteing up for you. Okay, that's the fight that you should ante up for, not talk down. You know, I don't think they'll go for it. Well, look, we'll know when we see it. Then if it doesn't go through, then you can say that. You know, because Teo's calling those guys out. I want this guy and this guy and this guy. Well, remember, like a year and a half ago, he was talking about retiring. So, you know, you're like, okay, so for Tio, we don't really know how serious he is about the whole fight game either, But would I love to see the fight? Absolutely, I would love to see the fight. I would love to see Tio at 147 anyway. I always feel him, Devin, and Ryan Garcia should be at 147. They're too damn big and too young and too talented to be at 140, playing around at 135, 140. Listen, those are trainer weight classes to me, especially when you want to be great, because they could have came in the era of 147 pounds when it was hot, and they did not. Bars. So take that under advisement. But Bob Arum, I think hopefully he can get with Eddie Hearn and they can make that fight, but it will have to be up to Jaron Boots Ennis if he really wants to take on Teofimo Lopez. You know what I mean? And if he's not up for the challenge, he shouldn't have stayed at 147. He should have went to 154. But they are monsters up there as well. So, a rock and a hard place I see Jaron Boots Ennis in. You guys tell me what you think of Bob Arum wanting the fight between his fighter, Teofimo Lopez, two-time current 140-pound WBO champion, versus the current IBF 147-pound IBF champion, welterweight, Jaron Boots Ennis. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.